Welcome to our AEM Series 2 live training session, part 5, using our RB25 swapped Nissan S14. In the last video, we learned how to do our full throttle tuning for fuel and spark timing. Also taking a look at our knock control, setting up the per cylinder knock control, making sure that everything was dialed in. Now this video, we're going to take a specific look at doing our boost control tuning. So we're going to be working with a simplified closed loop method. We're going to be turning up the boost to a specified boost target and then going through and just watching the calibration process. We're going to be making multiple pulls, and I'm going to be showing you what to look for when you're going into your AEM data to review a data log, and then what subsequent changes we need to make in order to make sure the boost control is programmed properly, and we're going to be hitting that target boost with minimal interference in the closed loop routine. We're going to have a lot to cover, so let's jump into this live training session so we can get started. Welcome back to our live training session here with our RB25 swapped S14 drift car. In our last video, we learned how to tune our full throttle fuel and spark timing. We dialed in our full throttle fuel using our O2 feedback correction. We watched what that was doing and guided us in changing our fuel table here, so we got the feedback being as close to zero as possible, and we were hitting our target air fuel. We also looked at calibrating our spark timing in our spark timing table here, using our per cylinder knock control to guide us in that spark calibration process. So it's very clear how to do that now, and you're going to be able to rely on that the knock sensor pulling out the spark timing if you get knock, so you can use it for your tuning purposes and long-term protection of the engine. So it's key to always set that up. I always like to work with the knock control. Series 2 has a reasonable knock control built into it. There's other systems that definitely work better. Infinity, I find, has a bit more robust knock control setup in it, but the Series 2 is the predecessor to the Infinity, so it's older technology. Naturally, it's not going to work as good, but it still works. It's still relevant. So we've set all that up. Now, in the last video, we were actually talking about doing a oil pressure failsafe protection, and we captured the data, but I didn't actually go in that last video. I just forgot about doing it, and looking at how to set up our oil failsafe protection. So let's review that right now. Let's get that out of the way before we go into doing our boost control, just so we have that oil pressure failsafe protection in place. Whether we're going to be doing a tune on the chassis dyno or racing in racing conditions, we want to make sure if we drop oil pressure, it's going to shut our motor down. So let's move from our ignition page here into our engine safety. Now, under the options oil pressure protection, this is where we're going to go jump in and start to take a look at this and set this up. Specifically in our oil pressure limit table, this is going to be specifying the lowest oil pressure we're going to allow the engine to run at a given engine RPM before it's going to be shutting down the engine. Now, I've set up here my oil pressure analog input on 80CR14. That's my oil pressure is going to be wired into. In fact, this has an AEM oil pressure gauge, and it's using the white wire from the oil pressure gauge and tied into the Series 2, so it's feeding out that signal, kind of like the wideband, where we're running a wideband gauge here, and we've wired it into the O2 number 1 input. Did the same thing with the oil pressure. So we wired it in here. We selected it as a 0 to 150 PSI scale, which is what the sensor's set at, and now we're ready to go in and configure the oil pressure minimum. So in order to do this, we need to make sure the engine is up to temperature. We need to capture data log from a full throttle pull so we can evaluate oil pressure over engine RPM. And then we're going to be setting our minimum based on that data. And we've already captured that. We actually go into our knock parameters here. I was logging, towards the top here, I was logging oil pressure this entire time. We just forgot to plot it and look at it. So let's do that right now so we can set up our failsafe protection table here, the oil pressure limit table. So this is the last data log that we were taking a look at when we were doing our tuning. This was the very last pull, and we were starting to get a little bit of knock activity. We can see that right here. What I'm going to do in this knock window is I'm going to overlay my oil pressure in here so I can plot it versus engine RPM. So this white line here, that's engine speed. It's going to allow me to essentially go into this table here and just look up given engine RPM points and refer back to my chart here and reference what my oil pressure is doing so I can populate the oil pressure limit table. I'm going to go into my log channels list here to configure, and I'm going to add it into my channels list. Let's go to configure view. I'm going to click on this as my lane 0, which is going to be my first options here. I'm going to go into add channel, and in the channel here, I'm going to go and find my oil pressure. We should be finding that in the data log here. Oil pressure PSIG. Let's click OK. So now it's going to be appearing in our window. We actually can take a look. We can see it's kind of spiky. Unfortunately, we don't have a filtration like we did on the map sensor. We saw the filtration we could filter it by. They don't have that, so that's logging the raw signal coming out of the oil pressure sensor from the gauge, but we're going to have to work with what we have here. So in oil pressure, let's go into a range. Let's do a range from 0 to 100 PSI. That should be good. We can specify what we want that to be at. Let's click OK.
now at very low engine speeds here.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.